Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Drag Racing Live with Bill Pratt and John Bockelman. Tonight we feature Mel Roth of the Streetcar Super Nationals. Has been behind the Streetcar Super Nationals, for 21 years now, coming up on big 22nd edition. Obviously, one of the wildest doorslammer gatherings in drag racing. November 19th to the 22nd in Las Vegas this year. We're going to look back tonight on how SCSN grew from a West Coast answer to Orlando back in the day. We'll talk about that. And now it's a bucket list event. And we're going to preview the Pro Mods, small tire monsters, four-wide action, and huge variety of machinery coming to the strip this year. So Mel Roth, welcome to the show.
Yeah, how you guys doing? Glad to be here.
We are doing so great. I do have a little lingering cough, so I'll ask folks to pardon me as I may have to catch one or two, but I'm feeling healthy and happy to be here. So, well, let's talk about the big event coming up, number 22, November 19th to the 22nd in Vegas. For somebody sitting at home wondering whether this is the year to finally make the trip, give us your sales pitch. What are we going to see at SCSN 22 that we can't see at a typical drag race?
Man, you get to see everything. 22nd year, we average anywhere between 550 and 600 entries. There are double entries, so we'll have close to 400 different cars on the property. We run everything from bracket racing, index racing, up until Pro Mod. All of our heads-up classes, which I think there's 11. Anything from small tire, we got the 530 index class that's very popular right now. We got a big tire, small tire. We got a class called real steel, which is kind of all steel, all glass, with just very, very few rules. And then the interesting part on this race is, so Las Vegas has 4 lanes in it. Okay, so the race is run 2 lanes at a time. So we split our run order up so we can have 1 or 2 radial tire classes, which we have dedicated lanes for the radial cars. And then we have dedicated lanes for the slick tire cars. So while we're running the slick tire cars, Kurt Johnson, TVC, is our track prep expert. He brings a great crew there, along with Jeff Foster and everybody from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They're prepping the other set of lanes while we're running they're prepping the radial lanes when we're running the slick tire lanes. So in that case, that helps us from going from tire to tire, because we used to have like a 20-minute, 30-minute stoppage to do the radial prep when we're running the slick tire cars, or vice versa. Dumb the track up is what they call it after the radial cars. So now we're able to prep the track while we're running. This is a marathon race. So it starts Thursday morning and it'll go through Sunday night. And it's tough to get it done because these cars are end of the year. Everybody's is all out. I mean, it's all out, as some of you will see in this video that we're going to play later on when we talk about some of the thrills this race has produced over the years. But it's nonstop action, obviously, other than, if somebody hits a wall or somebody oils down, but we have, the best of the best getting that track ready to get up and get the next pair up. So for a spectator, man, you'll never see anything like it.
Sounds amazing. So you're not actually going to run them 4 wide at any point. You're just going to use alternate sides of the track for the track prep.
Well, we have run 4 wide. We did a grudge race 4 wide, and we do have it on our schedule to run 4 wide Friday night. But our problem has always been is time. So it's in the fall in Las Vegas, unless our time change, our daylight savings changes, it'll get dark at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. Then it gets cold. And so it's very hard for us to make, to get to that point where we can do it. We have it planned every year, but we just don't get to run it every year. But so our goal is to run pro mods versus really fast radial cars, and then then big tire cars, against another equally set of of like no time cars, because it'll be a no time grudge deal. But yeah, so every year we have it planned. We just haven't had it. We haven't been able to do it for a couple years, but maybe this is the year.
Awesome. That's cold in the desert at night, so it's going to be pretty amazing. Well, can I ask you briefly? You mentioned the different track prep on both sides of the track, and that's a great idea. But what is high level the track prep difference between a big slick car and some of the radials and some of the other cars?
It's basically the amount of glue and how it's put down, whether it's drug or dragged after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And it just the radial cars just like to get on top and just accelerate off. They don't like, they don't want to spin, obviously. Where the slick
Mm-hmm.
tire, they need a little spin, to get
Mm-hmm.
going. So we'll have but when it comes to the slick tire lanes, normally it'll pull like 350 to 400 at the beginning of the track, and then get better as it goes. So we could run our radial cars on the slick side if we just did just a fresh coat right before we ran them. So, but then the slick tire cars will have a problem, getting that wheel speed.
Right.
So that's why we keep them. That's why I keep them separately, and the tracks are consistent all weekend long. I mean, we don't have an issue from the daylight to the nighttime. I mean, the track. I mean, like I said, Kurt Johnson, TVC, and his guys, and Jeff Foster. I mean, the track is on point all weekend. There's no shortage of glue when it comes to us. It was like 30 drums of glue last year. So pretty expensive. Everybody knows how much a drum of glue costs. So
yeah. Well, that's really great. Well, you mentioned all the cars. The class list is incredible. Pro Mod, Pro 275, X 275, LDR. What's LDR?
That's a limited drag radial class. That's kind of just a one step up from X 275.
Gotcha.
So they just it's not. We don't run like back east. They have a class. Well, they haven't run. Only runs once. At Donald Long's race, Radial versus the World. We just don't have those type of cars on the West Coast, but we have a lot of 275 cars that come out to this race. I mean, I think last year we had, 270 of our cars were heads-up cars. That's a lot of heads. That's a lot of heads-up cars, and it takes a long time to run them.
Yeah. Well, Outlights, 8.5, Pro Street, big tire, small tire, real steel, and plenty more. What cars or combinations are you personally excited to see this year? And are there any new racers or machines you're expecting that fans should have on their radar?
Every year we get, what we call someone we didn't expect and all that. So it's still too early, because a lot of these guys are still running their normal series and all that. And it's a last minute decision, when they come, some of the bigger names. I mean, we've had in the 21 years, we've had all the big names, and a lot of them, they raced at Streetcar before they were big names. So we had Ryan Martin, which is famous in the Street Outlaw deal. When he first came to Streetcar, the car wasn't red, it was brown. And nobody knew who he was. But it was like, so it's just like they come to this race, and because they know, everyone knows the track is going to be on point, and they can go, most likely as fast as they can. Very few times do we have guys that will spin or do anything like that. I mean, it's usually, if you got your car set up right, you're gonna run a personal best in Vegas, even at the elevation.
Yeah. You're gonna rock it, man. It's amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about it. Let's say we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I don't know if this is when you want to bring this in or not, but you've been doing this for about 2 decades, bringing some of the wildest cars and personalities in drag racing to Las Vegas. What's the craziest thing that's happened at a Streetcar Super Nationals that you can actually tell us about?
There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes and at night, but I'm not going to bring those up. But I asked some of my followers today what I thought was the craziest, happening on it. And like I said, there's been a lot of stuff that just been, out of the ordinary, from explosions to wheel stands to cars taking flight. But the one that I'll never forget is one that happened with this little a little Pontiac and X275 LDR car. I think, you know, it was, the class was named different back then, but a guy named Eric Peterson, nickname is Wildman. And this video is just amazing to see on how this car, when it hit the wall and then it went and hit the other wall, he was knocked out. And then the car was just full throttle for, you know, I think almost 2 minutes. I mean, it was amazing that that motor can stay, you know, complete, you know, probably 10,000 RPM for that long. So, but do you have the video to play? Did you get that handled?
I'm going to try this experiment right now, folks. So did you hear a little bit of an ad a moment ago? Because there was like, of course, there's an ad in front of the video, but I'm going to try to play this, and I'm going to turn my mic off and see if we can see it here. So let's have a look. Because it is pretty amazing.
Now, if anyone can hear me, Eric at this point he was already knocked out before he hit that second wall. Then just look at those tires. So the front brakes were locked up because of the impact, and it is, I mean, just burning them tires. And you can see in the background, Safety Safari was right on it, but they couldn't stop and, you know, get to the car because the car was still under power.
Wow, amazing. So
yeah, it looks like the
that
video
seemed to work.
it looks like the video was like speeded up. So, you know, if the fans at home want to go look at it and watch the whole thing, I mean, you will just see how long that car was full throttle for, and how that motor didn't explode is beyond me.
Yeah, I was expecting it any moment. But we can share. We'll share the URL to that. But yeah, man, I'm glad he's okay, because holy cow,
Yeah.
Looks like, as you were saying, looks like the first hit kind of knocked him out. And I guess he said today he was kind of laughing about it. Says, "Yeah, I was asleep by the time."
Oh, so funny. Well, I can't say a funny thing about Eric, but so Eric, I mean, his nickname, you know, Wild Man, and you know, when your nickname's Wild Man, you got to do some wild stuff. That was obviously one of them. But I mean, I'm sure he's done more wilder things than that. But he is now a politician up in Washington State, trying to help out, you know, his fellow racers and all that in Washington State. You know, I don't know how far he's going to move up on the political chain, but you know, congratulations him. I know he won something. So
yeah, great. All right, Eric. Well, thanks for the thrills, buddy. I know that I think you're probably watching us, and glad to chat with you today, and glad you're okay. Well, let's go back, Mel. Pardon me, and find out how it all got started. You grew out of racers at the World Street Nationals in Orlando, looking for a West Coast version, as my understanding. Take us back to that first event. What was your original vision, and at what point did you realize you'd created something much bigger than another Pacific Streetcar Association event?
Yeah. So I worked for Carl, who put on the World Street Nationals. I went and I parked cars. I worked tech. I did a whole bunch of things for him. He brought out me and a couple of my buddies to help him out at that race, and it was like, man, the West does need something like this. And so it was always in the back of my mind when because I did it for quite a few years, and then the year before Streetcar Super National started. I teamed up with NMCA, and we had a race at Vegas. Right, it was kind of like a precursor, to Streetcar, and it was cool. Billy Glidden was out there, and it was a cool deal to see some of the people that never come out west was out west. And then the next year, so one of my good friends was Monty Burney, and he passed away several years ago. But Monty was just the king of streetcar racing for 30 plus years. And so anyway, so when I would always talk to him, and he would always give me advice, and I said I wanted to do it. And he goes, well, you got to do it. Just don't talk about it, just do it. And so basically Monty Burney talked me into starting this race. And it was, it wasn't the biggest in the beginning, but it was good. We had classes that were similar to Orlando, but that would fit West Coast, cars, because, different set of cars. Everyone thinks racing is racing. Well, different areas of the country have different cars. And so anyway, we started then. Chris Blair, who now runs Worldwide Technology Raceway in St. Louis, he was the track operator at Vegas. He had my back, had a vision, and he allowed us to do this, and here we are 21 years later.
It's really amazing. Yeah, good old Monty Burney. We've tracked the streetcars on Drag Racing List for decades now, and of course, really, we don't do the subcategories, because we just kind of all rolled into one big database. But he was always there, and there's a big old 55 Chevys, I believe, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah,
He ran.
yeah. In the first couple of years, we had this class called Heavy Street, which was similar to Orlando. It was like 3,500 pound cars, and Monty Burney's car was a real 55 Chevy back then, and he won the first one.
Wow.
And then I believe the second year we had it was just a cool class to see these were 3,500 pound cars. And but we had there's always politics no matter what you do. There's politics, there's haters, or there's whatever you got to deal with, and I've dealt with it all throughout my career here. And I guess one guy just didn't like us having this class because technically NHRA didn't have a cert for a 3,500 pound car going that fast in a quarter mile, because we ran them quarter mile. And so anyway, not that NHRA told me not to do it, they just didn't advise it. So we went ahead and we just didn't run it after that. So, but it was one of the coolest classes we've ever had. When I think the third or fourth year, our class was called Pro Street back then. How things evolve.
Sure.
I think we had 53 Pro Street cars going for a 32 car field, and that last qualifier, if anybody was there, it was the most. These guys did everything to make this show, because you didn't want to be the one not to make the show. And I believe Monty Burney, that race did not make the show. But there was this 63 Bel Air that man, I don't know how he did it, but he came from nowhere and just was able to qualify 32nd, but he made the show. So
yeah.
just incredible. Every year has something different. And has one class will do better one year versus the next year. We had an Outlaw 8.5 class, which we still have, but like 12 years ago, I think we had 60 of them enter.
Wow.
Yeah. So last year, the little gangster class, which was 530 index, I think they had 58 of them. I mean, it just all, like I said, every year is something different. We always evolve with our classes. The class type heads up racing started to go away a little bit. No time racing, was getting popular. So we have a whole bunch of no time classes because that's what
Right,
people want to race these days. They don't want to worry about a turbo size or something. They just want to go race. And
right,
and
right.
uh, and all them classes are heavily populated and fun to watch.
Yeah, it's amazing. And well, you brought this up talking about Pro Street and the real cars at the beginning. But the term street cars changed dramatically in 22 years. We've gone from very fast, kind of modified production cars to now these machines making staggering horsepower, turbos, superchargers, nitrous combinations, prochargers, you name it. How is streetcar super nationals changed as the technology and definition of a streetcar has evolved? I think you touched on it a moment ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of too late to change the name, but because yeah, obviously a lot of these are not streetcars, but we've had them during our time, like Larry Larson, he was the first person to run in the fives in a streetcar at our race. I mean, it was a very emotional
Wow.
moment. Chad from Bank Shift was there, filming the whole thing. It was like he came there just to do that, and he did. We had the Jeff Lutz. We've had all them guys, bringing actual streetcars. Daddy Dave was there. Chuck was there. I mean, it was this. So we have had streetcars technically, but right now they're not many of them are considered streetcars. But it's not like we can change the name after 20 plus
Right.
years. So,
Well,
but
it's so hard to keep track of them all. I know that Rob McCabe's our statistician, and he sticks them all in there. Excuse me, on the list. But it's hard. It's really to me, it's kind of past me a bit because I'm an old. Give me four classes. Give me Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, and maybe Pro Mod. And
right.
of course exhibition stuff. But man, these guys that keep up with these individual categories of cars, they all run about the same too. They're just doing it with radically different combinations, and it's fascinating. But I need smarter, younger people to help me keep up with it. We'll have to look at a way to segregate them on the drag list a little more.
Right.
Great stuff. Well, we talked about the four wide grudge racing. I wanted to cover that a bit. So it sounds like if we can get it done, we're going to get it done. And the guys all put up the money for the category. Is this kind of like you put money in a pot? Is it a big money aspect of it? How does that sort of work?
Yeah, so we have a local grudge racer, Jay Bodie, very popular, was a street outlaw from California. He normally will put it together. He'll go around, get the matchups, get the money. But like I said, it's been it's been tough lately because it's hard. We try to limit entries. We try to do this. But we just have that either that one oil down or that one whatever that kind of gets us off track, and then we can't get to it because you know
Yeah,
I it's hard for me to be there as a promoter and stop what we're doing and do some exhibition where a guy didn't get his second run or so we
right,
try everything we can to make sure that our racers can get their qualifying times in and out. So that's why it's
right.
tough for this Friday night deal. So hopefully we can get it done this year because it is definitely pretty cool to watch.
Well, you talk about, circuit director, promoter, trying to get this thing done. The part of successful promotion is understanding both what the racers want in a race and what fans want to see in a show. They're not always the same thing. After 22 years of Streetcar Super Nationals, what have you learned about keeping both groups happy?
Um, you can. Oh, I mean, there's been, Streetcar 17 was our biggest race ever. It was a year after COVID, and we just had some really dumb things happen, oiling the track. I mean, you say they're dumb things, it just, it is a dumb thing. It's just you're dumb to me that things had to happen to ruin what could have been our best race. But it's like you can't stop. A racer is not going there to blow up his engine and put oil on the track.
Right.
So it's it's like those things kept happening, and we tried everything we can. We ran until 2:00 in the morning on Sunday. Well, it would have been Monday morning to try to finish the race, and we couldn't finish it. I got thrashed after that race. I mean, I'm talking about good friends texting me, calling me, telling me what a jerk I am because I couldn't finish a race. It's like, man, you tried. We went to 2:00 in the morning. What are we supposed to be doing here? But it's like you learn to deal with it, and you try to make it better for the next year. And then we went to mandatory diapers, engine blankets. We do not let a car.
Caught crap for that too, didn't you?
Oh no, we did, but not as much as if it didn't ruin the race the year before. Right. And my tech guy Scott Bischke and Derek Peppers, they if their car fits the criteria to have a diaper, which any heads up car or any bracket car that's faster than 999, they don't run. Period. Mm-hmm. They just don't. We do not give them we keep their tech card. And they do. They will go to see Fig Speed, one of our sponsors, and on the midway, and they'll figure out a way to put an engine blanket on the car because they came a long way. They don't want it. But now, being like 3 years into it with the engine diapers, everyone's got one, and it progressively gets better. Last year we had weather. First year in 21 years that we ever had rain at during the race, and we had cold conditions, and it we got the race done, but we lost 2 qualifiers because we couldn't run. It got too cold, so we started too late. But we did everything we could to get qualifying done. We couldn't, but we were able to get all eliminations and crown all our champions. So last year, awesome. other than missing a couple qualifying runs, we finished the race, and so that was good.
That's all. Well, you're doing a great job. It is a live sporting event, right? It's not TV. Right. There's no delayed. It's the deal. The calls you have to make live to get something done. I understand it. Glad I never had to do it. That's Royce Miller and other folks I know. But well, I tell you what, Mel, really impressive stuff. I wonder if we want to check in with our chat group, because John's been out there following along what's going on as people chat back and forth on YouTube. John, who do we have out there, sir?
We're here from coast to coast tonight, and we've got a lot of people, and there's some very interesting comments and questions that we have. Mike English said to ask Mel to tell a good Chris Blair story.
I love Chris Blair, and he back in I stressed him out a lot during my Vegas years because we were a little rough around the edges back when we first started, but he chased my tech guy out of the tower one time, and that was a pretty good one. So Chris, I know you're fine with that, but Chris has mellowed a lot in the last. And it's funny. I did talk to Chris today. So we actually our first race together was in Vegas 25 years ago. That's a long time to know somebody. So,
you bet.
But he has definitely mellowed, and he's but yeah, chasing my tech guy out of the tower. That was, he chased him out the tower, down the stairs, down the return road. He chased him. So he wanted my tech guy. so Mike English, we miss you, buddy. Mike used to announce for us when we raced at Auto Club Speedway, or Auto Club Dragway. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. He's awesome. Cool.
And
what else is happening, John?
Well, we have Spectier Racing, who is Doug, and he said, "Hey Mel, out of all the racers who have been at your SCSN, who do you think has been in the most finals?"
The most finals, I believe Kevin Stokes there should be. Like something happened behind your Lucas thing. I believe it's Kevin Stokesbury. I think he's been in the most finals, and I think he's won the most street cars. That's on the bracket index side. Um, we got a lot of people that won. Steve Nicholson and out of Canada. He's won 4. I say he won 3.5 because one of them was a little. The class was a little short on cars. So, but Steve Nicholson's like a 4-time champion in the Outlaw 10.5 class back when we had Outlaw 10.5. But that's why I proudly wear my Canadians. If you can see the Canadians, huge part of Streetcar Super Nationals, and we even play the Canadian national anthem thanks to Diane Lover, who's a photographer. She brought it to my attention one year that we have so many Canadians. Why don't we pay tribute to them, by playing their national anthem? And, absolutely, we've been playing it ever since. So
that's fantastic. They are our true neighbors and brothers. We wish them all the best and hopefully get a bunch. They have been a couple of challenges getting down here this year.
Yeah. We did. The only year that we really didn't have our Canadians was during COVID. They couldn't get down here. And so that was, don't get me started on COVID. So, but hey, we continuously did the race. So we are the longest continuous race of this kind still going. So we'll see if we can continue. We'll see if we can continue it for a few more years. So
we'll do 22 more. Let's do
it. Have to get me a walker or a wheelchair by then. So, or have my boy take it over for me.
There you go. Who else is out there, Mr. John?
Well, Doug made a comment. He said, you're at the right hotel when Larson's Nova and Barry's 56 are sitting outside.
Yeah, that was a cool year when we had a lot of those guys, come out and run, and they took it's on YouTube as well. They drove them cars down the strip, and it was a really cool deal. So yeah, I think we had quite a few of them that one year. Like I said, Jeff Lutz was there, and man, I'm trying to remember all their names, but like I said, they took a bunch of these cars out and cruises Las Vegas, Boulevard at after hours. So it was a pretty cool deal.
Right.
That's cool.
And then speaking of well, I think I told you about Larson going the first in the fives, for a real car. We also had, we had a lot of firsts at this race, and another one that is a good memory of mine was Brad Brand back in the day. This is probably, I'm going to say 12, 14 years ago, but he was the first Outlaw 10.5 car to run fives in the quarter mile. And so that was definitely a cool mark that we had back in the day, early years of street car.
Well, let's see. Rob McCabe said he was lucky to get the results. He said, I was lucky to get the results I could from the NMCA, NMRA's last couple of seasons before they closed up shop. He said, just wish the race videos were available for 23 and 24 seasons. And Rich Panacaro said, you guys know what you're doing. And he said he went to a few NMCA races back in the 80s, and it was a great series. Now, Rob's getting ready to go to the Yellow Bullet Nationals next week. Mm-hmm. And y'all showed a video of a Camaro hitting the wall and going across and hitting the other wall head on. And Rob said there's GR Motorsports, Gabby Rodriguez made that. Now, Dale Broderick followed that up and said, now he's going to the U.S. Nationals. He said the Meltdown Drags had a front-engine dragster do that a couple of years ago. The guy got knocked out wide open against the Jersey wall for a long time. Now I saw that video right when it came out. I hate it when that happens. You hate to see a decent race car get smashed, but thank goodness the drivers are okay. Mm-hmm. And that's what's most important. And actually, Doug said he remembered that, and the race got called for the night. The wheels dug into the track. That was the Camaro video.
Correct. Oh, just a little side note on that Eric Peterson deal, that one we're talking about. Um, so when the car finally stopped, the car was crushed. We couldn't get him out of the car. Eric's a big guy. Um, and so I had to like kneel into the passenger window and let Eric knew that we were going to cut the roll cage and the roof off the car. And
Wow.
he was not very happy about that. So that's one of the things. And, I was like, man, I guess I'm the one that's going to have to tell him. So, but yes, so we had to cut the roof off the car to get him out. But yeah, it did.
Oh my gosh.
We had to patch the track overnight. So,
I'm just glad he was okay. That was one hell of a, anytime there's fire, it's not good.
right.
Jeanette Des Jardines just checked in and she says, "Hi, Mel."
Oh, tell her hi. That's the car chicks apparel girl.
Oh, cool.
And Doug also said the Snavely wreck was also crazy. I don't know if he
Yes,
meant Snively or Snavely.
it's Snavely, and he crashed the next morning after Eric, and the car like changed it, like it swapped lanes, and then it went airborne, and then it went over the wall into the dirt.
Wow.
And by the time I got there, obviously safety was already there. But I looked inside the car, and there was so much dirt and everything. I mean, they had just like taken his helmet off, and he was just laying there. And I honestly thought he was dead. I mean, he was full of dirt, and he had his eyes closed and all that. And just like, man, I couldn't believe, because Rick Snavely's been racing with me and PSCA since day one, and it was just like to the emotions that went through that day of looking at Rick Snavely, and then obviously he didn't pass away. He still actually races today every once in a while. But it's just like, you go from, oh my God, I just, Rick Snavely just died at your race, to go, and like I said, they brought him to the hospital, and, he's A-OK now. So thank goodness. So very, very great, great racer and a great person is Rick.
Right. My goodness.
Scott
Oh,
Piesky checked in and he says, "Hi, Mel." And Eric William Peterson said, "Wild Man came back better than ever in a pro mod."
He did. He had probably, man, what did he have? He had a 51 Chevy. I mean, he might have to correct me on this, but he had the Wild Man Pro Mod, and he's a quarter mile racer. He just didn't want to, because when we scaled Pro Mod back and Big Tire back to 8th mile, he just didn't want to run 8th mile stuff. So he sold everything, and now he's a politician. So, so hey, I'd vote for him. So
yeah, sure. Why not?
yeah, he's a cool guy. So
Well, thank you, John. Thanks to the folks on the chat. Any other questions from our folks?
We're caught up for the moment.
Appreciate it. Well, Mel, there are racers, track operators, and promoters watching watching tonight who are trying to build successful events of their own. What's one thing you've learned from 22 years of Street Kart Super Nationals that every race promoter should understand before they open the gates?
man, that's a tough question, because it changes year to year. So I do something that a lot of promoters don't do, but I think is good. So I'm at the front gate when these racers come in, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, whether it's this or that. And I park half of them, and I have another gal that will park the other half. But I try to at least greet, wave, or talk to them when I park them. I just think that goes a long way. After I get them parked, they don't, most of them don't see me till the end of the race in the winner's circle, because I'm in the tower, just making calls and, trying to get everything, handled up in the tower. But I make it a point every year to be there parking these guys, making sure that they know that, that the race promoter is out there. I know that they're here. So,
Hmm.
and some of them, yeah, I know them by their car and not by their name. So sometimes I get a little mixed up and, I don't know who they are. So sometimes I got to ask them and it's like, hey man, it's like, well, your car's in the trailer and I can't see it. And, but no, that's probably the best part of my job is, I mean, it's painstaking to park everybody. But because we assign parking spots for everybody but it's, to me, I think it's a big deal to greet
Yeah.
your customers when they come in the gate. So
No, I love it. That's great. That's great advice. So, well, event this big obviously isn't a one-man operation, although you do a ton. Who are the people, sponsors, track staff, and partners behind the scenes who've helped the Super Chevy?
oh,
Um, sorry,
international.
Streetcar Super Nationals grow
Yeah,
for more than two
I,
decades.
I like the Super Chevy show and Roger Gustin. So you know,
Those are fun. I announced two of them. They were great,
did you
or at
really?
least
So
one.
uh,
Scheduled for two, did one.
yeah, my family, you know, Heather and my kid MacGyver comes to these races, and MacGyver's just a fan, and he loves it. Heather works the trailer, registration, does all the stuff pre-race, so definitely couldn't do it without her. I mentioned my tech guys, Scott Bishke and Derek Peppers. They've been with me since day one. Derek's girlfriend Kim works the trailer. We have Jen works the trailer. Caitlin, I mean, we have Tammy. Um, she's worked the trailer for, man, probably at least 15 years now or more. Um, and then we have a girl from named Carrie that comes from Colorado that used to work at the track. She comes and does the back computer for us. Then the LVMS staff from Jeff Foster and Nate, the announcer. I mean, we use their staff as well as Kurt Johnson, and Kurt Johnson brings in like an all-star cast. Um, we had Evan Bader last year working the track, so we had Bader's very popular name, in Ohio. They run Norwalk.
Yeah.
And he brings an all-star staff with him every time with Ralph and the rest of his crew. And then Phil Painter, who runs muscle cars at the strip. I mean, he does everything for like the 2 weeks before to help me because he knows that my mind is, kind of scattered. So he'll go and do errands for me or do this for me. So thank you, Phil Painter. And then obviously Chris Blair for, giving me my start at Vegas. With streetcar, that is. Mike Urich actually gave me my first race at Vegas. If any of you guys know Mike Urich, so great guy. And then sponsors. From over the years, obviously sponsors change year to year, but Fuel Tech, Summit Racing, Precision Turbo, Mickey Thompson Tires. SMC race cars, Red Tide canopies. As I'm going down my list here. So there's one thing I didn't write down. Hang on a second.
Got it. Got to take care of the.
I worked for like 2 days to get all the everything I needed, and the one thing I didn't was my sponsor. But luckily, I have my computer here. So okay, Ross Racing Pistons, Magna Fuel, Flying A Motorsports, Morrow Brothers Ford, Arizona Race Company, Team Bodie. That's Jay Bodie's racing. That he that does helps me with the grudge race and all that. Holder's Air Conditioning. That's Roger Holder out in Bakersfield, California. Hughes Performance, Calvert Racing, and 4130 Fabrication is who helps us out. And most of them have been with us for 10, 15 years. So it's nice having, sponsors last a long time. John Calvert actually has been with me for 27 years. with
Wow.
Calvert Racing suspensions. And yeah, so it's 27 years. That's how long I've been doing this. So yeah, it's and I'm still doing it. So it's probably, I don't know whether I'm smart or dumb or whatever, but but
You're
it's
passionate.
well, I mean, I love doing it. I love racing. I'm almost at a racetrack every single weekend, and now I get to bring my kids to them, and they just my youngest boy, MacGyver, he is just absolutely nuts on cars, and
That's amazing.
so I if I make one person a fan for life like MacGyver, then I guess I did my job. So
I love it. Well, Mel,
no.
speaking of which, so for somebody who we've convinced tonight to come to Las Vegas, what do they need to know? Tickets, a schedule, where to follow the event online?
Yeah,
And,
everything's on streetcarsupernationals.com. We post everything on our Facebook, which is Facebook/Streetcar Supernationals. So everything's on there. Our phone numbers are on there. You can contact me or Heather. We can answer questions. Basically, the race is simple. When it comes to the race, we have Wednesday as a test day, and then Thursday, Friday is qualifying days. Saturday we start eliminations, and Sunday we finish. It is a marathon race, and the track workers are there. They all hate the race, but they won't miss it. So, and it's the truth.
Yeah.
They hate it, but they know they want to be there, and a lot of the track staff has been there the whole entire 22 years of streetcar. So,
Wow. When you get it done, you've done something. That's for sure.
yeah. And then we have a new host hotel this year, the Golden Nugget. We have that on the website and on Facebook. They gave us great room rates. It's right on Fremont Street.
Right.
Really taking care of our racers. So hopefully everybody fills those rooms up. I know they got a few left. They don't have a lot left. So if you haven't made your plans yet, and you can actually get a room from the Monday before streetcar starts until the Monday the day after. So you can.
Wow.
So they have 7 days you can get a discounted room rates, and they're really inexpensive. Trying to figure out what else. But over the years, I mean, I know you asked me one time about, memories and all this kind of stuff. There was one that I'll never forget. And it's another one that will live forever on YouTube. So we had this outlaw 10-5 class, and it was quarter mile. This was probably 12 years ago again. We always 30, 40 cars that used to come to this class. It was big out here. So one year we had an import racer named Justin Humphreys, who he ended up racing pro stock for a while. I don't know if anyone remembers this name.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Sure.
Right. I think he's from your area up there.
Carolinas, I believe. Yeah.
But anyway, he was big in the import world. He had a 4-door Lexus turbo car. So anyway, so he came to streetcar one year and made it to the final. And he made it to the final against one of our big dogs, which is named Rich Ziering. And I'll never forget the call on it. And it's something that, if people want to YouTube, it had Al Tucci and Alan Reinhart were on the mic. And it was the most incredible. I mean, you get sunk into this one race. They made it so exciting, and it was so exciting. And this little Lexus 4-door beat Rich Ziering by just a hair. But it was like one of the coolest things that I was able to witness. For being able to over the years. But yeah, people YouTube that Rich Ziering and Justin Humphreys Outlaw 10-5 final, and I mean. The call is just amazing. So,
yeah, unbelievable. Well, yeah, you got some. Yeah, I've announced with Tucci before. I've never had a chance to announce with Alan, but they can both raise the tempo up, informative, and keep it exciting for sure.
Well, what worked in the booth with them, they're polar opposites. Alan's not an exciting guy when it comes to how Al Tucci is. But
Yeah.
Al Tucci brought out the Al Tucci in El Naranjo. And like I said, so when you're all said and done, just go watch that video, and it's just it's another thing to watch. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Well, man, Mel, it's been a blast hanging out with you tonight. Any final thoughts for our racers and fans out there as they prepare to hopefully come see you put on another amazing event this year?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, anyone wants to get in contact with me, my number's all over the website and Facebook. I'm starting to post all our contenders now. The racers sending in contender profiles. I'm doing that right now. Um, kind of I kind of every year I kind of pick a different time when I start the promotion part of it, because you do it too early and then you run out of gas
Yeah.
before the start of the race. So I'm on it now, and we are just we're going to pump new stuff every day and promote our racers and their companies that support them and their friends and their whoever they like to thank. We do a nice little contender day. We put photos up of them. The one thing I needed to announce too. So in our Pro Mod class, Wes Buck, Drag Illustrated, he's having a World Series of Pro Mod, and it's moving to Texas this coming March or next March. And he has donated a free entry for our Pro Mod winner at Street Car Super Nationals. And that's, I don't know exactly how much that costs, but I know it's anywhere between $200 and $2,500 or something. It's pretty pricey.
Nice.
To get into that race. But he's given an invite for that race for our Pro Mod winner. So hopefully a few of the Pro Mods that are coming out, that's a little extra incentive to attend. And let me just go over my notes real quick here. Other things that you didn't get to them. I realize things run long or wide or long, but cool things about streetcar. We had John and Camp Stanley come out actually, like I think 4 years, but the first time they came out, that was cool. And then the second year they came out, they debuted their Cadillac, so that was another cool deal. We had Melanie Salimi out here. We had Steve Kirk. We've had Pat Musey. We've had just some names that are just, Shannon Jenkins. We had just about anybody who was anybody came out to streetcar at least once. And so those are my memories. I did have one quick thing. I had Pat Musey, and he got mad at me for a call. It actually was a call from the tower, but it was my race, so it was my call. He was pissed, and he wanted to get me really bad, and but it's all that, it's a big race. Emotions run high, and I've talked to Pat since this has all happened, and we're all good now. But it was a very heated tower scene that day. That he wanted to switch lanes, and we had assigned lanes, and I wasn't going to let him switch lanes. So, but yeah, so that was another one of my memories of excitement of hosting this race. So sorry but
it's all good. That's why we're here. He was ruling the roost with that Popeye Camaro for a while. Was it in that era?
It was right after that. I think we had the Dodge. It was the Dodge.
Okay.
So yeah, it was that car. So, but your guest after me raced streetcar for many years. So before
she's going to. Well, John's going to talk about her, and we're going to talk about getting her on here one of these days. But I understand she did that as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mel, it's been a blast hanging out with you tonight, and have a great event. And there's lots of more Mondays in the year, so we'll talk to Miss Kay and bring you back maybe after the event so you can tell us how it went down.
We definitely do that.
And be sure to send us all your promo stuff, and we'll pop as much of it up there as we can. But much appreciated, and have a great rest of the year. I know it's going to be busy.
Yeah, well, appreciate you guys spending the time with me, and like I said, you guys too have a good rest of the year, and just keep racing. That's what we got to do. We have to keep these racetracks going, and it's our job to keep them going. So
heck yeah. Well, you're doing your part, sir. Thanks so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Mel Roth of the Streetcar Super Nationals coming up November 19th through the 22nd. See you down the road, sir. All
Thank you.
right, let's say farewell to Mel. And we'll turn it over to Mr. John for this week's JB's Take and the Racer of the Week. Take it away, John.
Thanks, BP. My pick for Racer of the Week is Yvonne Lucas from Enumclaw, Washington. Yvonne was recommended to me by our producer, Kay Thurkelson. Thanks, Kay. She's a talented, hands-on mechanic and the driver of her top alcohol funny car. And I believe her story is quite an inspiration. I will deliver her story in first-person format exactly as she sent it to me. Here goes. Over 35 years in drag racing, my love of cars goes back to childhood. I remember peering out the back window of my parents' four-door sedan as a small child, wide-eyed at what I would later learn was a 1970 Cuda. I wanted to drive so badly that at 14 I tried to talk my dad into letting me get a dirt bike because you could get a motorcycle license at 14. He thought I'd get hurt, so he said no. I took auto shop in high school thinking I wanted to become a mechanic for a living. I realized that I really wanted to do was work on race cars. I took office work Monday through Friday so I could have nights and weekends free to pursue drag racing. In the beginning, I spent a little time in the bracket classes driving street cars. I learned a lot, and to this day, I'm a fan of bracket races and their procedures of consistency and punctuality. My goals expanded to heads-up racing because I had the big desires to go faster, and I really enjoyed the first one to the stripe wins racing style. My first passes down the track were in the 14s in a borrowed truck. I built my first car and went in the 12s with it. I continued to get faster each year, building 2 more cars, and really worked to build a solid driving resume. I have strong feelings about racers who make large jumps in ET and miles per hour and the learning curve. I did things in a way where I could learn and develop the skills needed at each level, the 12s, the 11s, the 10s, the 9s, the 8s, the 7s, the 6s. This method has given me real insight into driver duties, car preparation, and safety. I have built each car with the mindset of a mechanic who drives. I am 100% hands-on and have always been. Understanding the mechanics, the physics, and forces at play for race cars is so vital. We become able to make better decisions in the seat, especially when the window of available action becomes smaller as you go faster and quicker. Very good point, Yvonne. I spent over a decade in Pro Mod, a 68 Camaro nitrous car. This was a labor-intensive level of racing that became incredibly valuable experience for me. My quickest ET to date is a 602 at 236 miles an hour. Each race season, I have ET and miles per hour goals. I have my next goal set at getting in the 5-second club solidly at over 250 miles an hour. I always wanted to build a blower car, and getting into top alcohol funny cars is a huge undertaking in many ways. I've been building this car from the ground up. I had some delays, parts failures, and other learning experiences. You need a very clearly fixed vision in your mind, and you will keep going. The timeline will change, but often that turns out to be real protection. Trust in your path. I believe heavily in preparation and education. Building the funny car has been a journey of deep learning, and my approach is to be as detailed-oriented as I can. I have founded 2 racing organizations, produced some big sponsor money race events, and have been heavily involved in race structure and racer track liaison. That time in my life helped me to see both sides from a racer's view to a track manager's view. I've worked with tech personnel and track personnel on behalf of driver safety and am a deeply committed safety advocate. I am also a big proponent of increasing longevity in our sport. We need to focus on our existing veterans and what they bring to our sport of knowledge and fortitude. Bridging that knowledge with the newer classes and racing formats is an area we can improve. My other passion is getting better informed media involved in drag racing. I agree. The amount of sloppy journalism has damaged our sport. Many mainstream news outlets do not accurately represent or report on our sport. My hope is new beginnings in store that are covering for pros to a larger audience will improve things for every class in the sport. I always say an educated fan is a better fan. I use my social media platforms for that reason, as well as helping racers and advocating for driver safety. These things are what can have lasting effects on our communities and our sport. Thank you for this opportunity to be featured. Thank you for all you do for our sport. Yvonne, thank you for this excellent story. We wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. Everybody stay safe and well. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. And we'll see you all next week. God bless America. Back to you, BP.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. And firing up a new closing image here to kind of talk about the folks who take care of us, including you and Kay and everybody else. Try to streamline things a bit, but this will kind of wrap it all up for us every week. And I kind of go through a big long thing that I say at the end. It's the same as almost every show. So let's see if we can read some of them there and see if we can streamline stuff. But let's talk about cool things that are going on right now. 894 subscribers, 214,000 views since the 1st of March. We're very exciting. Welcome to all. Help us grow. Subscribe and tell your friends. Here's upcoming guests. Now, I got a big old list here that Miss Kay's been working hard while I was out of the country. And here's what's coming up during the month of September and even into October. So next Monday night, my buddy Bruce Mullins, top alcohol funny car, one of the fastest roots blown cars in the world. Indeed, there's only one more quicker in history, and he's aiming for that number, and he's very close. On the Labor Day, on the 7th, we're not going to go, excuse me, we're not going to have a show, so enjoy your Labor Day. On the 14th, Steve Johnson, pro stock motorcycle veteran and superstar, will be joining us. On the 21st of September, Danny Thompson, the Salt Flats legend, will be here on Drag Racing Live. Of course, his dad, Mickey, and the entire family, just amazing. September 28th, Brandon Seraphine, the winner of the March Meet and the Night of Fire, is going to be joining us. And on October 3rd, Mark Beatty from the PDRA and from Redline Oil. So lining them up. Thank you, Miss Kay. And of course, we're going to start filling in some dates for October. I actually lost the thread on our friends who have passed because I was gone for the vast majority of late July, early August. And so we will put together a list of names for you. Don't have any tonight. But I know we lost a couple of folks this weekend. Someone passed up at Thompson, Ohio. Condolences to that racer and to his family, I should say, and many friends. But we'll bring our lost friends back. That segment will be coming back next week. We'll try to get some research done and remember these outstanding racers who have left us recently. With that, let me turn it over to John for his final thoughts. John, what do you think about the show?
It was a wonderful evening, and Mel Roth is a terrific guy. And he's actually the head of the biggest event on the West Coast right now. And I think that was we were fortunate that he showed up and hung out with us tonight. Very articulate guy, and he knows what he's doing. He's the man in
Mhm.
charge. Can't think of anybody better. And
He's got it going on.
yeah,
Thank you, John. Appreciate everything you do, my friend. Great to see you again. It's been a while. I did catch a little bit of the flu this last week, but I was down hard for a while. Been coughing a bit that last show, but feel way, way better now. And so on we go into the rest of the year. So I do want to thank Mel Roth for coming on. He was great. John Bachman, Kate Trickleton. You can see the entire super crew right over here. That's where I'm looking. And of course, thanks so much to everyone. And please like, please share, please subscribe, please comment. Let your friends know we're out here, and let's see if we can keep our little community moving. So have a wonderful week, folks. We will see you next Monday night for Bruce Mullins, outstanding car painter, outstanding designer, and an outstanding racer as well. Adios, everyone. Catch you in a week.